Well, season 2 of Star Trek Prodigy is out, and I have not started to watch it yet. I am a lifelong fan of Star Trek, and I did not 100% like the first season of Prodigy. I'm not one of those people who will love every single Star Trek project there is, although I do like most of them. I am Stuart, I am your middle-aged hack, and let's delve into why I'm not super excited about Star Trek Prodigy. If you're a Star Trek fan, you have to admit that this has been a great time for Star Trek fans in general. I mean, okay, so there hasn't been a Trek movie in a while, though they're producing the Section 31 movie for streaming. That's fine. There have been so many shows out that, you're just spoiled for choice. If you like this one or that one or whatever, there's something to look at. If you want comedy, if you want drama, people hugging, if you want nostalgia, it's all there. And for the most part, I have liked all of the Trek shows that have been out except Prodigy. And one of the reasons I don't like Prodigy is that I didn't terribly like Voyager. Now, this is going to be the unpopular view. I get it. I didn't terribly like the Deep Space Nine Voyager era of Trek. It seems to me that what happened was Gene Roddenberry had just passed away. And Gene Roddenberry had as one of his rules that there really couldn't be internal conflict within the Federation. There had to be, the conflict had to be external. It had to be some outside source. And that, humans, the Federation members, call it what you will, to try to be inclusive, had evolved past the need for internal conflict. That sounds great, but it's not great drama. So Roddenberry had just died, like I said, and the folks who were running Trek at that time, Michael Piller, Brandon Braga, and they were just kind of feeling like, okay, now's our chance. Now we can have some internal conflict. And they took Trek very dark in places that Trek had never gone before. Deep Space Nine turned into one moral ambiguity after another, and Voyager became about, well, what's it going to take to survive when it comes down to your own kind of morals and stuff like that. And the truth is, I didn't like it. There were people at the time who said, oh, that's not real Trek or whatever. I think it is real Trek. The universe is big enough to account for all of that. But I didn't like it, I didn't think it was good, and I didn't think it was really what I wanted to see, which was a move of society toward harmony and toward something good, and kind of the way that Next Generation portrayed the Federation, as opposed to this really kind of still very contentious thing. And I didn't like Voyager for that reason. Now, Voyager started off really cold for me. I never liked the character of Kes, and I never really liked the character of Neelix. I thought they were distracting, and just never went for it. The good things about Voyager were, the production values were very good considering the time, and the stories were taking place in ways that never had happened before. But I didn't often like the kind of compromises that needed to happen in order for the crew of Voyager to get home. And the fact that it was still very largely episodic because of the time that it was made in. Well, when Prodigy came out, I was primed not to like it, to be honest with you. It was originally pitched as a Star Trek show for kids. That's why it was produced in conjunction with Nickelodeon. And I am not a kid, folks, but I gave it a try, and I thought, okay, how bad could it be? It turned out that it was not for kids, really. It had some very deep and mature themes. I think calling it a kids show is really, really wrong. At the same time, I didn't like the callbacks to Voyager. I really didn't like. I didn't like any of the adversaries at all. Any of the villains of the show, and yet I kind of watched because, you know, what are you going to do? It's on. It's Star Trek. There's something, and the production values. Again, the animation was fantastic. I thought it was really visually was doing things that Trek had never done before, and I really appreciated that. When season 1 ended, I thought, okay, nice experiment. And then it turns out that Netflix picked it up for season 2. And here we are. There's going to be somewhere around 12 to 15 hours of Trek. And I'm going to want to watch it eventually. Because let's face facts, we don't have any Star Trek until next year. Other than Prodigy, Strange New Worlds, which I think is the best of the current crop, is coming back in 25. The thing about Prodigy, at least looking at it from season 1 and also what they're saying about season 2, is it does not know what it wants to be. You read interviews with the producers and they say, oh, it's not about fan service. And if it's not about fan service, why are there so many recurring characters? And that's the thing about recurring characters. If you didn't like them in the first place, then they're not going to be terribly fun for you. They say it's a great place for somebody to start if they have no Trek experience. I disagree, because a lot of stuff isn't said. You're just supposed to have all this Federation lore and understand that it's, you know, there's something about it that you're supposed to really just inherently get. I don't know. It's been a very long time since I've been new to Trek, so I can't say how a new person is going to react to it. Somewhere, I'm sure, on the internet is a video of somebody reacting to it for the first time. So it's going to be a time travel story, which, let's face facts, that's a really well-trod path for Star Trek. Going back several times through the original series, in Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, even the whole movie of First Contact, you know, time travel, time travel, time travel, time travel. And we all understand what Star Trek means by time travel. There's nothing new that they can put in because they have created a whole bunch of rules around it that they can't break at this point. They've got so much lore. But they wrote themselves into a corner because that's the kind of show that they need to do in order to resolve some of the things that they built up in season 1. And so I hope there's something more to it, but I also hope that what there is more to it is stuff that I'm going to like. I tend to like shows with story arcs. I do. But again, with story arcs, you run the risk of not liking the arc. And that can be a big problem. I didn't like the arc in Prodigy. If you look at the last season of Discovery, I really wasn't so much on Maul and Locke, and they just kept coming back. And eventually, with a long story arc, you kind of almost have to show the audience that the antagonists, that your villains, are really not that bad people. They're just coming from a point of view that you maybe didn't understand. And I get it, that's deep and it's morally ambiguous and all the things that we want television to be today. But sometimes you just want a good old-fashioned villain. Sometimes you want somebody like the Gorn who are just so different from who you are that you cannot understand their motivations. That can be a good story too. And that's a place that Star Trek hasn't gone very often, and I think that it could. I think that's a place that would really be kind of novel for Trek to go. When Strange New Worlds kind of got into the whole Gorn thing, I think even though there were some canon issues, what I did like about it was really new territory because they did not try to understand where the Gorn were coming from. It just didn't work. So bottom line, folks, here is that if you're watching this before you've seen Prodigy, I'm kind of curious what's making you hold off on watching it. If you have already started watching and you're liking it, I'm kind of curious about what makes you like it. And if you're continuing to struggle through it as I am, I'd love to hear about that too. Like, subscribe, and leave a comment. And here is my pitch to you folks. I am trying to get this channel up to 1,000 subscribers as quickly as I can so I can monetize it. And the only way to do that is with your help. I sure would appreciate a like, a subscribe, and a comment. Even if you don't agree with what I'm talking about, go ahead and say it, because that's what the internet is about, is open discussions, right? That's about it for the Middle-Aged Hack for today. Keep watching the channel, because I'm not quite sure where it's going to go, and I'm going to be trying a whole bunch of different stuff. If you didn't like this one, who knows? You may like the next one. See you then.